Hello everyone, happy December 1st and the beginning of Viva Green Month. So much for that intro. Come on. Got it. Oh! Almost lost it. That's the snowflake. Yes, I am 18, but free chocolate is free chocolate. Now, let's actually begin the review. So, The Dreamers is, to say the least, a very interesting film. Very interesting. For many, many reasons. So, let's start with the environment. So, the most of it takes place in this one room and apartment, and it's very interesting. I would like to live there, not with everything that's going on, but I would like to live there. It does give a very homey kind of feel to it, definitely. I wish it kind of went out more. I mean, they kind of did, but not so much. It was mostly just in the apartment, and I mean, I get that. It was supposed to be a story of the three people. But at the same time, I think it's a bit jumbled in the sense that it wants to have this political streak, and it also wants to have this film buff streak, and then wants to have all three of the characters. So eventually, once everything hits the fan, the political side gets dropped, the trivia movie buff kind of thing gets dropped a bit. There's like one argument after, but it does kind of disintegrate those two plots at least. So if you're hoping to go see the political side of the movie with these characters, you don't really see it, or the film buff one, it kind of goes away too and it just becomes a raw thing between these three characters. So the three characters in question, however, are, I wrote their names down, Michael Pitt, who plays Matthew, which I mostly know as Mason Verger. That's the only other thing I've ever seen him in. We have Eva Green, obviously, she plays Isabel. And we have Louis Garrel. I probably said that wrong, but you can comment and fix that later. And he plays Theo. So, from what I can check, the actor who plays Theo, hasn't really done anything since, or anything big in America, or North America. I think he's primarily a French actor. Out of the three, I think Eva Green gives the strongest performance, and you may be like, oh, you're an Eva Green fan, of course you're gonna say that. But I really think she does. I think she gives it her all, and the performance feels very raw and very, very realistic. And I think it for sure helped her a lot throughout her career. I mean, the fact that she's able to do such raw things really does help with people casting, because some actors and actresses might be uncomfortable, let's say, being naked. I would be. Being naked all the time. Oh yeah, I took a tally. We'll get to that later. Being naked, but then if they know Eva Green can do it, let's say for Sin City, then bam, she's already kind of got the role. She's very, very good in this movie, and she does stand out, and I definitely see why she went from Ridley Scott cast her in Kingdom of Heaven, because she gives it her all, and she gives a very, very, very good performance. Michael Pitt was also, he's very good. He's very, what did I write here? He's very awkward. He's a very odd character. And I mean, comparing the two between Isabel and Theo, completely forgot his name, and I heard it a million times last night. They are very strange with each other, and they're very strange overall. But he's kind of like the weird friend, but not crazy. Theo and Isabel kind of seem like they would be the ones you avoid at school, whereas Matthew seems like he'd just be that odd kid, but you're kind of like, oh yeah, he's fine. I mean, the weirdest scene, just like the table dinner scene, that was a bit weird, and he goes off on some weird tangents throughout the film. And the last one, Louis, I think he does a very good job. Nothing to stand out. It doesn't take any spotlight away from the characters. I don't think anyone does. I think they're all pretty equally divided amongst each other. But I don't think he does anything to really, really stand out. I think he's good at his role, and he was good at his role. I think that's not much I can say about him. He didn't change my mind. And then Theo's a bit of a tricky character, I'd have to even say, to perform, because there's not a lot to him. The most character is Isabel, and you could argue Matthew, but Matthew doesn't really go much into his best. I do like it's near the beginning, in the middle of the film, but then it gets dropped, is the combination of real footage for the riots and such that were happening. They were real footage, they had the real footage, and then I thought they were actors, but they might have been the real people. I saw that in the credits, so they could have been the real people redoing it again. But they had that, and they cut them together. And it was clear that they weren't the same, and they didn't really try 100% to do it, but it helps make it feel realistic and put it in the realm of reality. I also liked a lot of the film footage they put in. I haven't seen most of the films. The only one I knew about was Freaks, the circus one where everyone's at the table and like, One of Us is that. That's the only one I was ever familiar with, and the other ones I have no idea what they are. A lot of the characters, they have really good chemistry, I have to say. Eva and Louis, they really do feel like brother and sister. They do fight, they do throw things at each other, they do hit each other, but they also, they have a weird friendship, but, I mean, relationship, whatever. But, they do seem very realistic, and they do seem like they are real siblings. So they did a really, really good job with that. And even the three of them, they had great chemistry, but I definitely think that Theo and Matthew, I like how the actors knew there was tension there, and they put tension between the two. Even though they're supposed to be friends and they act like friends, but there's still tension between the two. Because they constantly disagree throughout the film. So, maybe the ending isn't such a surprise, which we'll get to in a bit. There's a lot of attention to detail, especially when they reference other movies, such as all the old ones. Bertolucci, who directed this film, really knew how to make it flow together. So I know one scene that comes to mind is when Isabel's in the room and they cut to the footage of this other actress going around feeling the room, and then she is doing the same just to get the feel of it. And it felt like almost the same scene. I know they changed obviously a lot, but it really does feel like he put a lot of attention to detail, and I have to kudos to that. Yep, we're gonna go into some spoilers now. Okay, so this movie, if you look it up, it is an erotic film. I mean, I think it's erotic drama. This is the category that it gets put into, and it lives up to its name. So I put a tally because I was curious. So, the total amount of scenes in which any character is naked are 12 times. 12 times you have to see someone naked. And that's not even considering that some of these scenes were extended, like the bathroom scene, if you know what I'm talking about. That one is like one scene, or I counted that as one, but it goes on for about 10 minutes, so it's a lot of nudity. Surprisingly, I thought there were a lot more sex scenes, but there were only two sex scenes. So yeah, I was kind of surprised. I thought there'd be more. I remember there being more. Not that I was looking forward to that. Again, for the incest, I thought there were incest, or there was a hint towards incest, but when I watched it again, there was never any. There might be, but it's not anything sexual. It's never sexual incest, and first time I thought it was, when I watched it, but no incest at all. I think, and the film also did a really good job to show that, it makes sense that Theo and Isabel would kind of stick together like that. Go together. Oops. Because the parents, they are just so dismissive, or the dad is. He's constantly arguing with Theo, and Isabel doesn't like her parents either. Like, they refused to pick up the phone one time. Crazy. But I think they did a really, 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 really good job at making that clear. So, if you're wondering, it's about 45 minutes into the film. That's when it gets really weird and really uncomfortable. So you can watch it for 45 minutes, and then if you're like, the scene at about 45, that's your limit, turn it off, don't do it anymore, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Especially after the 45-minute scene, if I saw two siblings, one dare the other to do that, I'd be out. I'd be like, nah, this is not the friendship for me. I'm surprised she stays. I mean, if you had a crush on Isabel, I mean, I get it, but I would still be out of there. It's too weird. Too weird. I also noticed while watching the film again that Theo, because they do movie trivia, and this is also a game I'd be totally screwed because I can always remember something, but I don't remember what movie it is. So they do movie trivia, and, like, oh, she'll come in doing this acting, I'll put up a picture, that's what that was, and he lost, so he had to do the forfeit, and that was the weird scene. But I would be like, I'd be done. I wouldn't be able to win at all. And a lot of them are really vague. Like, hers is super, super vague. And if they've seen as many movies as they claim to have, I have no idea how he would remember that. And it was just such a vague and random reference. Maybe she wanted to win. Maybe that's why she chose it. But it's really vague, and it was kind of cheap. And they constantly seem to be one-upping each other until finally Matthew and Isabel do the naughty. And then that's when the movie changes completely. And I know Matthew says that, but it really does, like, tonal shift completely. So, like, there's no more movie buff. There's basically nothing political until the very end, and there's, like, one scene where they go on a date, or Isabel and Matthew go on a date. And that's about it. That's the only political part of the movie. And there's no more trivia, which is kind of a shame. That's what I liked about it. I was like, oh yeah, I can see how a bunch of film buffs would want to do that. They would just not do what they're doing, but just quiz each other on movie trivia and have fun that way. But it just disappears, and which is a shame, I have to say. I would have been interested to see what more forfeits they came up with, but I wish they stuck with that a bit longer. That's one of my complaints, I would have to say. It gets a little long-winded, I have to say. I think it's a 2-hour film. It's almost 2 hours, so in about 45 minutes is when it changes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Okay, back to other weird things. And then I have some questions that I want to ask you guys that you might be able to help me out with. They're all in the bathtub together. This is really weird. Okay, so before... Alright, if you are underage, like 18, if you're under 18, you might want to click away. I'll probably leave when it's safe to come back, but you've been warned. So the bathroom scene is by far the weirdest scene in the entire film, I have to say. So it begins, they're smoking drugs in the bath, and Theo and Matthew are in there together, which I'll get back to in a minute, don't worry. And then Isabel comes and joins them, whatever, and so he wakes up, he's like, whoa, and God, it's so weird. So the bathtub is red, the water is, and he's like, what happened? And she's like, it just means I'm not pregnant. If I wasn't gone before, I'd be gone then. Not when I'm in the bath, please. I know you can't control it, but... And then they try to, they're like, oh, let's play this little game. And they're like, let's shave his pubes. And Matthew freaks out. Like, he throws a tantrum. He's like, do you want to make me a pubescent? What's wrong with you? And I think he took that a little... If people, I mean, I don't think if you shave down under, that makes you want to feel like a pubescent or look like one. I don't think that's the thing. It might have been in the 60s when the movie's based, but I mean, I would not want people doing that to me either. But yeah, that was like the pinnacle of the weird scenes. It goes wall masturbation. It makes more sense if you've seen the movie, to this point. And then we're done. No more really weird scenes. It just kills us slowly inside. And speaking of killing themselves, but we'll get to that later. So, I think... Alright, I want to talk about this, because before we talk about the ending, apparently, based on sources and in the original book, there was a homosexual relationship between Theo and Matthew, and apparently the actor, give it a sec, I gotta double check. Michael Pitt had signed on to do the sex scenes with, like, the same sex scenes. But the director felt this was too much. He felt this was too much. So if you don't know, Bertolucci kind of has his reputation in Hollywood for being a renowned kind of pervert. I don't know how true that is. I mean, he did win 2 Oscars, so he has to have talent, I guess. I mean, he does. This movie does scream like, well done, well made, but it just seems weird that because I know if another actress blamed him for ruining her, I wonder if he just got rid of it because he didn't want to see it, which would not be right, because it is still very, very hinted at. After they run in the museum, and Theo changes right in front of Matthew, and he's like, check it out. He doesn't actually do that, but he's changing. And then there's a scene where they're arguing in the same bedroom, and Matthew somehow gets onto Theo's bed, and Theo's like slowly going on top of him, and it looks like they're about to kiss, and then Isabel's like, stop it. And he's like, whoa, like it's still there. It's like, you didn't remove it, Bertolucci, you just didn't show it. So, I can't tell you why he removed it, honestly. I think he didn't want to see it. I mean, it could have gone too far, but to some people this movie already went too far, so would it have been much? I don't know. I seem really geared towards this. I don't know. This doesn't seem like a good enough reason to remove it. So, let's talk about the ending. So, earlier in the film, Matthew asks Isabel if your parents ever found out about how close you and Theo really were, not sexually, but like everything else that a relationship would be, what would you do? And she's like, I would kill myself. And I was like, huh. Everyone's like, huh. She's probably kidding. But lo and behold, her parents actually come home to give her a check for money, and like, her dad's like, what is happening? Like, and her mom just is like nonchalant, okay, let's go. We don't need to eat dinner with them, we don't need to stay here, we can just go. And if I was their parent, I would probably sit down and talk to them about this. I wouldn't just abort mission. Or, I mean, I guess you might if you wanted to plan your game plan. You didn't want to just yell at them for being weird. But, lo and behold, she actually does attempt to commit suicide. And she doesn't kill Not herself. She uses a hose, she unplugs a gas line, which was far too easy, and then puts it in and then brings the hose over to them. So, like, she doesn't try to kill Not herself, but she tries to kill 2 other people. I'm like, whoa, Isabel! Like, you're going through with your decision, but don't kill 2 people who really didn't do anything. Fortunately, a brick goes through the window and wakes them both up, like, oh, and she's like, abort, abort, and then she's quickly trying to do that, and Theo's like, what's that smell? And she's like, tear gas. It's like, no, Isabel, you know what it is. But, yeah, I don't know. So eventually they go outside to see the riot that's going on, and they decide to go in, and then Theo grabs a Molotov cocktail, and Matthew's like, don't do this, you know. He's against war, Matthew, and he's like against violence, and I think he retreated there to avoid the Vietnam War, and that was explained, or hinted at. And Theo's like, you don't understand me, blah, 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 and then whatever. So he grabs a Molotov cocktail, he grabs Isabel. Matthew's like, don't go, Isabel, but Isabel, we'll get back to this in a moment. Isabel goes with him and causes mischief, and Matthew just walks away. And I don't really see how else it could have ended. I think eventually this weird threesome friendship had to end some point, and there it did end. So, it is a shame, though, about Isabel. Kind of. We'll get to it now. So, this movie seemed to start, or it kind of showcased that Eva Green is really good at playing really damaged characters, really broken ones, I have to say. The prime example would be Miss G from Cracks. I see some similarities between the two. Very kind of obsessive behavior. And I would kind of say womb, but she's not completely crazy, she's just a little odd, I'd have to say. But she's a very damaged character. I mean, she never went out with anyone else. She is so devoted to Theo that she could never imagine going on a date. She was never asked out. I'm sure she was, but she never went out. But yeah, and she's completely dedicated to him, and it's a very damaged relationship. I mean, he has a girl over, and she completely snaps. She needs him back. She needs to sleep in his bed. She needs to be with him. And at the end, you can kind of see, because of Eva Green's performance, but you can kind of see that she wants to go with Matthew, but she doesn't feel safe, she doesn't feel comfortable, so she just escapes and goes with Theo. So she's a very broken character, and she's very good at it. She's very good at these broken characters. Cracks is my favorite Eva Green film, I'll just say that now. It's one of my favorite films. But the way she plays that character is just so beautifully done. It's kind of like Isabel was the starting point, and then it went to Miss G, and oh man, oh, I love that movie. I love it so much. Oh, she plays those characters so perfectly. It's really, oh, it's great, but I feel really sad. She's really good at that too. I mean, Miss G does some terrible things, but I feel so sad for her at the end of the movie. But... And same with this one, I feel really sad for Isabel. I can't condone what she's done, but I feel sad. She's just so damaged. Eva Green, why you do this to me? Why you hurt me so much? But, back to the ending. I have to say it's a really good ending. I mean, you could kind of say it's abrupt, considering, like, the middle goes on for so long, and then bam, ending. But I don't really see how long, the friendship wouldn't last very long, and I don't see how else it could have ended. I have to say, though, also, the time in this movie isn't extremely clear. I think it's about a month that they're together. I think. But, like, in one scene, they have money, and the next, like, we've cashed both the checks, we got nothing. And I'm like, how does that happen? What did I miss? What? So, the time is not very clear in this movie. I think it jumps, like, weeks to second weeks and third weeks and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? I think it's a month that they're together, though. All three of them. So that's very fun and educational. Alright, before I get to did I like it and would I recommend it, let's go over some questions that I had for you guys to answer, including you. Okay, first question. Do you feel this is a film more for film buffs and film critics than the general audience? Because I kind of get that. I kind of get that feel. I mean, I read the Roger Ebert review, and he said, oh, I remember when I was back in the 60s and this was happening, and I remember all these older movies, or he's seen them and whatnot. But to me, who's never seen these movies, and I wasn't born in the 60s, or around that time, like, I can't really connect to the movie too much. I'm not a huge film buff. I enjoy film, but I wouldn't consider myself a film buff. But, yeah, I mean, do you think it's a film for them? I kind of feel like it is, because he loved the movie. But the general audience is like, nah, it's not, it's erotic, and it's well acted. Yeah. But, I don't know. I feel like, to me, it seems like a movie for film buffs and film critics. It feels like for everyone else but the public, the main public. Also, I saw something that kind of interested me. Does anyone know why Isabel has a scar? I couldn't tell. It was prominent in one scene, and she kind of points it out, but I have no idea why she has a scar or how she got it. I don't think it's clearly stated in the movie. So if any of you guys know, if you've read the book, yeah, there's a book to this. I'd be curious to know if they ever say why she has a scar. If you guys know, let me know, because I'm interested. It was predominant in one scene, and she just kind of has it, but she never talks about it, so maybe it's more about her. Also, there is a unrated version of this film, and that one is really hard to find. I think here to buy it would be like $80 to buy. It's not cheap at all. So I'd be curious, has anyone ever seen the uncut? I'm curious. I can kind of guess what would be put back in, but is there any kind of scenes missing, or is it all just sex or sexual content? Is that all just back in there? But yeah, I'd be very curious to see what people say. I tried to look for it because I saw the rated R version before, but I would be very curious about the uncut version and seeing unedited. So now to the main question: did I like it and would I recommend it? It's a bit iffy. It's a bit iffy a film. I would say I appreciate it's well made. It has good references. But I don't know if I think I liked it, but I don't know if I'd watch it often. I think on a whole, I think it's a good movie. But I don't think I'd watch it very much. I think I'd watch it maybe once every 5 years. Like, it wouldn't be a very common movie, because the middle is kind of long-winded, and unless you're, like, into erotic things, I don't really see how it could hold your attention through that. I'm not sure. I'm kind of undecided. I don't know if I like it, or because it's good, and I don't know if I like it because it's good, or if I dislike it because it's not what I would have wanted. And I guess I keep in mind too that maybe perhaps a French person would like the movie more than I would because it's more, I assume, their style than American. I'm not sure. I haven't watched any French films, so I'm kind of speaking out of nowhere. Would I recommend it? It's a bit iffy. I have to say, if you wanted to watch it, there's nothing. You might get bored if you're a general audience. If you're a film buff or critic, I definitely suggest watching this because it has a very interesting commentary on the political scene and film. Like, they have Theo and Matthew, they discuss film and actors and directors quite often. So if you're into that, I would definitely say check that out, and you might enjoy that more. But it's not a movie everyone would like. It's very much, if you don't like erotic things, if nudity and sex off-puts you in a film, this is definitely a bad film choice, as presented by the nudity count and the sex count. But at the same time, as an Eva Green film, I think it's very interesting to see where she started. In this movie, she was very, very facial, almost theatrically facial expressions, which isn't a bad thing, but it's very different than her Kingdom of Heaven. And I think it's closer to how she is, what I've seen in interviews or whatnot, that she seems to be very facial, and she does little faces and all that. But it's very interesting to see where she started, but let's say if you started watching Casino Royale or Kingdom of Heaven or Golden Compass, it would be very hard for you to go back and watch The Dreamers. I think you could skip it. In all honesty, if you were going to have an Eva Green marathon, it's not a movie you would have to watch. You could probably watch Cracks and get... oh man. But you could probably watch Cracks and get the same kind of character from her. It's very similar. So, in the whole, I recommend if you're a film buff, kind of, the first bit. If you're not into nudity, then there's no point. If you're an Eva Green fan, it's a bit iffy. You could probably skip it. I don't really think you need to see where she's come from. I think it's more a movie if you're interested or if you really, really are committed to watching them all. This is the second time. I've watched it twice, so that's just my commitment. As a general audience, I would say, unless you like artsy films that are a bit long, you would like it, but the general public, I don't think will like it, and that's probably why it only made its budget back in a bit. So, yeah, up to you guys, really. It's all up to you. But The Dreamers is a very interesting, erotic, very erotic film. Thank you so much for joining my review of The Dreamers. I hope you answered my questions down below, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on the movie. Do you like it? Would you recommend it? Is it your favorite Eva Green film? I think I watched the top 10, so I'm putting this one first. I'm like, But, yeah. I hope you come back for more reviews. I was looking at Arsène Lupin, and probably not saying that right still. I've ordered it now because I took some more hours at work, so I can kind of validate buying it. So hopefully it'll come in by Monday and I can review it. If not, that one will get postponed. Sorry, but it will because I have to watch it. Hopefully it has subtitles. That'd be really awkward. The whole DVD's in French, and it wasn't very clear if it had subtitles. I hope it does. It better do. But yeah, I'll see you Monday for Arsène Lupin's review. If not, it'll be Kingdom of Heaven. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you will come back for some more Eva Green Month. Don't forget to watch Arsène Lupin and Kingdom of Heaven this weekend for Monday. Farewell for now.